Ooh. Some strangeness going on with the front end here. Ladies and gentlemen, 2024 Kia EV6 GT. Now this is the same platform as the Hyundai Ioniq 5N, which we just drove on the track. So I'm curious today, how does this compare on the track? We have two motors, front and rear, and we're pushing out 576 horsepower, 545 pound-feet of torque, 218 miles of rated range with a 77.4 kilowatt hour battery. We've got an eLSD on the rear axle. MSRP on these is around $64,000, and it's the same platform as the Ioniq 5, essentially the same weight too, around 4,800 pounds. A thick boy. This doesn't have the trickery with the ICE sounds that the Ioniq 5N has. Now we're in sport mode. We're gonna press GT and get into GT mode. Traction control off, the gauge changes a little bit, and we're off. Woohoo! Man, when these things just pull in silence, it is so strange. Ooh, some strangeness going on with the front end here. Getting some understeer. We do have a McPherson strut front suspension. I'm not sure what's going on with the front end. It's a little bit vague. Yeah, what is up with the steering weighting and such? The weighting is like kind of unpredictable and will weigh up and release not in the way that you would expect a normal vehicle to. I mean, the power is really impressive as it tends to be with EVs. Getting a lot of tire squeal. This doesn't feel quite as planted and grounded as that Ioniq 5N. They're both very heavy cars, and you gotta be careful managing their weight, tossing them around, but this definitely is not as hardcore or track focused as that Ioniq 5. Whew. Jeez. There's this weird disconnectedness to this vehicle. The steering is like inconsistent. Not getting much brake feel. Tires are screaming for mercy. And we're gonna cool down. I mean, the power, impressive, the torque, you know, you kind of expect that with EVs getting more and more powerful these days. Steering disconnected, front end kind of awkward and floaty, capable, but not a car that inspires confidence. But it's a car that when you're pushing it, the limit is, it doesn't seem consistent. It seems like the limit is changing as you drive it harder, if that makes sense. It's not a car that is one-to-one, that you're getting exactly what you expect from it. And round two. Doesn't pull quite as hard as that Ioniq 5N. Of course, we're down on horsepower and torque. And even though these are the same platform, they feel completely different. They don't feel like the same platform. I mean, sure, the weight is almost identical and the weight does feel similar, but the Ioniq 5N handles this weight way better. It feels much more connected too. It feels much sportier. This feels a little bit more, well, first of all, it feels like a fish out of water on track, if I'm being honest. It feels like more GT, more comfortable, more street. Whereas the Ioniq 5N feels like it's actually meant to be sporty. Like the brakes here are mushy. They don't give great feel. The steering in both is pretty numb, pretty dead. But the difference is that with the Ioniq 5N, the steering at least feels more natural. And over here, there's a little bit of the front end, and the steering can sometimes surprise you and feel like it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing with regards to weighting, turning, stuff like that. Oh, there we go, getting a bit of rotation. Those tires screaming, dear mercy. Ooh, a little bit of hop right there. Overall, I mean, it's a vehicle that on street, I'm sure is very comfortable, is very competent. On track, doesn't really feel at home here. The Ioniq 5N is gonna be a little bit more expensive, but you are getting a much more focused vehicle. I also love the styling on that personally more, but that's, you know, styling is obviously just a personal preference thing. And driving wise though, the Ioniq 5N feels so much sportier, dialed in, buttoned down, whereas this feels like a much more regular pedestrian kind of commuter vehicle. That one feels like something a little bit more special. So my friends, let me know what you think of the Kia EV6 GT versus the Ioniq 5N. Which one would you go for? Which one's styling do you actually prefer? I'm curious. Let me know with a comment down below. Much love, my friends. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you all in that next one.